All right, mate. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So I sent you a message last week. I'm going to assume your first response is, who the fuck is this? So we actually had a phone call about 18 months ago, but I only realized the other day I texted you from a different phone. And so even if you had my number saved, you wouldn't have known it anyway. But
Yeah, right. What do we have a phone call about?
so me and my wife were looking at doing one of your, buy an investment, rent out kind of things. And
Accelerator.
Yeah. And this might help you remember it. So we were going through the process and we'd just been burnt by a marketing agency. And I was talking to one of your staff who were very good and knew a lot, but I was just hung up on this. What if it's like a social media fucking burn, like the one we just had with marketing, like we got sold through the channels that the guy in the video is going to be the guy helping us, but the business is too big that you never see him, which is normal, but we didn't expect that. And so I was basically accusing you of being him. And then you rang me one day and was just like, hey, mate, nothing dodgy here. What do you want to know?
There you go.
So that's actually the first time we spoke. But before you came in today, I was having a look through your Instagram, and the first thing that popped in my mind was, fuck, he's posted a lot. I don't know if you've ever scrolled through your own Instagram.
No.
It goes for days.
Yeah, well, how many posts have I got? It'd be fucking thousands.
It'd be thousands. Yeah. Have a look. But it took me a long time. Yeah. It's a long way back.
4,747
Yeah, there you go.
posts.
Yeah. So you wouldn't remember what the early ones were.
I remember the real early ones. There's a lot of water under the bridge since then and now, so I don't remember the new ones. Oh,
so that was, I think 2016 was your first post. Where were you at in life then? What was going on?
2016. What is it now? 2025. So it was, 11 years ago.
9 years ago?
Oh, 9. Sorry. Fuck yeah, there we go. Property guy with numbers, huh?
20.
9 years ago, I was 20 years old. What was I doing?
Well, you were on boats a bit then too.
Yeah, not mine though. Oh, no, one was mine. I bought a share on a boat back then.
Yeah, good.
But 20, I was still living in Western Sydney, close to where we are right now. I worked for a construction company or civil construction company called AWJ Civil. They do a lot of work around here. And I had 2 properties. Had a missus at the time that I'd been with for a few years, and we were saving to buy our first property together. I already had 2. It would have been the third. And I was fucking obsessed with becoming rich. So,
a session that never stopped.
Yeah, that's right. So,
so were you an employee back then? You were at AWJ?
Yeah. I was a excavator operator then. So I'd started in, what did you say, 2016. So I would have started when I was 15, 16, which was 4 years prior. So like 2011, 2012, I got booted out of school. Started with those guys. My dad was one of their main foremen, so that's how I got the in to get the job there. And now I'd been a labourer for 3 or 4 years, and then got an operator's role, and then 12 months later, so when I was 21, that's when I moved to Newcastle, got a new missus, and yeah.
So I'm assuming property was something. It was an early thought for you. If you already had 2 by 20.
Yeah. So
someone planted that seed though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate. I've got really good parents, right? So. When I was 18, when I turned 18, I'd been working for sort of 3 years, and I'd saved up a heap of dough because I was earning good money in construction, had fuck all to spend it on because I was living at home. You can only waste it, really. There's nothing you need to spend money on. So I saved up a heap of money, and Mum and Dad said, hey, you've got all this money in the bank. Go and buy yourself a home. It wasn't go and build an investment portfolio and become, fucking super wealthy. It was just go buy your first home because we can see there's going to be one of 2 paths you choose. One is use your money responsibly, or 2 is turn 18, piss it all off against the wall. And then, as most of us know, as you get on through life and you start to get some life baggage, it's much harder to save money as you get older than it is when you're younger and have no, expenses and fixed costs. So that was the first reason I bought a property. And then from there, met a guy through YouTube podcast. Name was Chris Gray. Spoken about him a lot, and he was the one that sort of, got me really obsessed with wealth creation and building a portfolio, and that's what led me.
So would you say he kind of taught you a process, not just hey, save and buy a house for the sake of it because you like it, but if there's a process to this? Was he that guy?
Yeah, so he was the first person that I was exposed to in the flesh that I perceived to be really wealthy. Like, we had people in our local area, like dad's bosses and, family friends that had some money, but, they weren't people that I looked up to, like, wow, because, a lot of friends of dad's, and they were in construction and shit like that, which is, I didn't really aspire to be that. But Chris was the first guy that had a big portfolio, drove a sick car, had a boat on the harbour, lived on the harbour. Then I was like, fuck. And, I got to have lunch with him personally. I bought it through a charity auction. He got me on a super yacht. First time I'd ever been on a boat on Sydney Harbour. Like it was the first person that exposed me to the life that as a 20, 21-year-old kid, you're like, fuck, oh, this is the shit. And, from there, that's what sort of led me down the path of following what he had done, adding my Jack Henderson touch to it. And that's what sort of planted the seed that you can actually go and live the life that you want and build as much wealth as you want. So I'm forever grateful. We're actually going to do something. It's planning at the moment. It's going to be called The Master and the Apprentice. We're going to go do across New South Wales, Queensland and Victoria. Because so many people ask me online now, do you mentor and all this shit? And like, I don't have time. And it's not worth my time, like, to be brutally honest. So we're going to do an event where we go across 3 states and essentially he's going to talk about his perspective and his, journey over the last 30 to 40 years of property and investing in business. And I'm going to talk about what I've learnt from him and what, I've done over the last sort of 10 years and do it in an in-person environment so people can see, touch and feel and hopefully have the same experience that I did and go out there and get what's theirs.
I've heard you saying a few times that there's just no excuse to be sitting around pretending like you haven't been given a handout because the internet is the biggest handout. There's literally not a problem that has been solved by a book or a podcast or a radio show or just a dude on his Instagram. They're so reachable. It's literally person to person almost. You can comment to the guy.
It's free.
Yeah.
It's the craziest
and it's free.
shit. And it's like, fucking the beautiful thing about social media these days is it rewards you or gives you more of what you look at. So if your Instagram and TikTok and whatever social platform you're on shows you more terrible shit, that's a reflection of you because it's not an algorithm now that shows you what you follow. It's an algorithm that shows you what you're interested in. So the more time you spend watching bullshit videos and, getting involved in shit that doesn't matter, the more it'll show you of that, right? So it's a really good reflection of, what is my life or what am I really interested in? And if you want wealth creation and money and business advice and all that shit, then the beautiful thing is you go on your Instagram and it'll show you more of that. If you like hot birds, it'll show you more of that too. Or blokes, one of the two. So yeah, that's the awesome thing is like it gives you more of what you're interested in and it's free. And the hardest thing about today in 2025 is it's never been easier to learn, but it's also never been harder to execute because there's so many distractions out there, right? Like so many differing opinions, so many different ways to do things. And it's so easy to get distracted with all the noise that's out there. So that's the challenge of today where 50 years ago when my parents were growing up, the hardest thing was the information. The information was guarded. It was behind paywalls. It was, behind people that you had to pay to get it from, where now the information is readily available for free, but there's a lot more distractions because of that.
And so many different social kind of expectations, that back then, if your goal was just to have a family and save for your family home and nothing else, it's almost like the community was proud of you because that's what everyone was working towards. But now it's like, do you have the bag? Do you have the shoes? Do you have the car? And for anybody that does actually give it a good crack, sometimes they lose it because they didn't delay gratification enough. They get caught up in all that. And look, pretty much everyone's been there and you either reel it back and continue on or you don't. But yeah, it's tough because it's never been harder to kind of go, here's the process. Because one guy tells you one thing, another tells you another. Some of the advice I got was don't listen to everyone. Just pick someone you get along with and just listen to them, even if someone else says the opposite. And just do it long enough to for sure it's not right before you change minds because it's confusing.
I say the same thing. It's like find one person that you resonate with, follow that person until what they're teaching is no longer relevant to you because maybe you've surpassed them as you should because that person probably didn't have a them to teach them to get to where they are. And then go find the next person. And that's exactly what I've done. Like Chris was that guy for many years. And then, I needed to learn less about property and investment and more about business. So I went and found people who were much better in business than what I was. And then it continues to evolve over time. I think one of the most important things is not to go and look at someone like a Musk or a Bezos or fucking Warren Buffett, for example, and look at what they're doing right now and go, oh, that's what I need to do. Because like where they are right now is not where they started and what they're doing right now is not what they did when they started. So following the advice of those kinds of people has merit to an extent, but you need to understand that they're at page 120 and you're at page 1. So what they're doing is probably not all that relevant to you. The thinking and the mindset and all the rest of it is. But you need to find someone who's similar to you, on the similar stage to you, or can give you, an experience share or advice around what they did when they were at that point, not what they're doing right now.
And like you said, you just reached out to this guy on YouTube, right? I think until you're in the business world, you don't realize how willing people are to help. If you're somebody that you can see is not just a time waster. Like if you're seeing someone really having a crack at it and they ring you for help, most business owners, most entrepreneurs, most successful people will offer the small amount of help they can. But I think there's this, there's a habit in workplaces, I guess, that if you ask for help, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're doing. That's why you're constantly asking for help. And I think that deters people from doing that. And they don't realize that if you get out of that rat race and speak to the people that are trying to amplify everyone around them, I'm not saying everyone's going to respond to you, but it's certainly more likely, I think, when you reach out.
You need to keep asking, right? And that just comes down to how bad you want it. Like, if you want an answer, you've got to seek until you get that answer. If you ask one person you don't get, and you go, "Oh fuck, this is too hard, I'll give up," then it's probably going to reflect in most areas of your life. But the people who are persistent, like I didn't just message Chris and say, "Hey, can I have help?" Like I got on the train at Windsor, went in and started going to his live seminars, meeting them in the flesh by asking questions in the crowd and then recognizing you. And then when you message him, you're like, "Hey, I was at the event the other night and I asked you this question," so there's like that level of relatability and familiarity. And then same thing, you put up a charity lunch. And I, instead of just going, "Hey, can I have a free lunch with you?" Or, "Hey, can I take you out for lunch?" like everyone does, I waited for the opportunity to come up and then I, went and bought the lunch. And then from there, the next thing where I said I owned a share in the boat, I had him on Facebook. They, there was a few of them that had this Chris Craft on the harbour. They put up that they were selling one of the shares in the Chris Craft. And I was like, fuck, if I buy a share in a boat with these guys, all of a sudden now I'm on a level playing field because I'm an owner in a boat with them. So I paid half cash, half for a personal loan through ANZ. And in 2 weeks' time, I was on a boat with them. And, I'm not saying go and do that because not everyone should do that. But I was just like, I want to do whatever it takes for me to get close to someone that has what I want. And that's what I did. And for me, it's paid off. It may not pay off for everyone, but that's my story.
It will eventually pay off if you keep trying.
Yeah, I mean, if you keep buying shares in boats, probably not ideal.
Not in that way, yeah. Maybe have a few different channels.
Yeah, but I see a lot of people who constantly, and we speak to a lot of people who are constantly doing the coaching and constantly going, and seeking advice from all these different people. So just paying to get exposure to people is one part of the puzzle. The other part is the execution piece. So everything I was learning, I was like a sponge, and I still am now. So it's like, teach me and let me learn everything I possibly can, and then let me go and execute on that. It's not just the learning part that I did, which is what a lot of people do. It's just like this mental masturbation of like, oh, by learning I'm doing. And it's like, no, you're not. By learning, it's one piece of it. The other part now is go implement what you've learned. And I just kept learning, implementing.
Well, the scary part is implementing. And so you can always bury your time in more learning because there's always more there. And that's you just convincing yourself that, oh, well, I've just got a bit more to learn. I don't have to do the hard stuff yet. There's still more questions to answer. But it's like going to uni in theory. At some point, they've got to tick you off and go, time to go get the job.
That's the hardest part, right? Because in uni or any formal education, it's all theory. It's not the real world. And that's why most people who go to university work for someone who never did. And it's because the person who didn't go to university learnt real world, where the person who went to university learnt theory. And then they get out into the real world and like, now I need to go get a job.
So winding back to Instagram, I found a photo of you that I thought was interesting just because I didn't think this was in your history whatsoever. Was you strapped up after a fight by the looks of it?
Probably.
And in Thailand for a boxing camp, kickboxing.
Oh, yeah. I trained Muay Thai for a lot of years, and then I did a charity boxing fight with Corporate Fighter.
That's right, Corporate, yeah.
That was funny. I got fucked up by some little Irish cunt.
Oh, so you didn't put the video up, the photo, because the
video's on YouTube.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, the video's on YouTube. It's very funny. I didn't train at all. It's a 12-week training camp. I showed up 3 times because I lived in Newcastle at the time and the training was in Sydney. I'm like, fuck that. And I registered blind drunk at someone else's event that I was there for. So I did 3 training sessions. All of them were sparring sessions. And I was like, yeah, I'll be fine. Yeah.
The other guy went more than 3 times, obviously.
It was so funny. He moved. It was in Surrey Hills, the old gym. I don't think it's around anymore. He took it very seriously and it showed.
But I'm glad you didn't.
I trained Muay Thai for a lot of years, and that was obviously very different. I actually trained out here in Penrith with a guy called Jason Sherry. He was from Jab Out, and then he started a gym called Mauler Muay Thai. And I went to Thailand and stuff. But
Fitness has always been a part then because you run a lot now.
yeah. I just enjoy the challenge of things, like I enjoyed self-defense just through school. Like my brother in school got bullied a lot, and I was a younger sibling. So seeing that, I know I didn't want to have to go through that. So self-defense was important to me to make sure that if, anyone fuck with me, I could protect myself to an extent. So that was the reason I got into it. And when now the physical stuff, running is my chosen thing. I've been through the gym. I fucking got on the roids and got up to 103 kilos and used to bench 140, 150, all that shit. And then it's not really me. So I got out of that. That was many years ago. And now I just fucking love like really long distance running. So I got a 240K run in 4 weeks or something.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And it's tell me about your kind of journey with this, because I think for a lot of people in business, it is an excuse. It's not reality, but the excuse is, well, I'm dedicating so much time to my business. How can I possibly have time for fitness? But at a different timeline for everyone, I think everyone realizes, well, the two just go together because your general health impacts your business performance as well. Was there ever a time you dropped fitness completely and realized that was a bad idea?
No, I train. I'm up at 4 every morning and I train from 4 to 6:30. You're not doing business at 6:30 or 4 in the morning, But at the same token, I'm fucking not someone who's in the office till 11 o'clock at night. Like I leave the office at 6:37 every night. I'm in bed by 8. I don't have kids. I don't have a family. I'm allowed to do that. And I know if I don't sleep, I'm fucking useless. I can be at the office for 5 hours longer every day and I wouldn't get any more done. So sleep, I'm super strict with my sleep and I'm super strict with my training. I train much better when I have something to train for. So I did a 205-mile run at the start of the year and I was a beast training for it. When I did that run, then for maybe 4 to 6 weeks after it, and I was in May, I think I did that. And then I was going to Europe in July. So I was still 3 to 4 times a week training, but nowhere near as much as I was when I was training for something. And then as soon as I got back from Europe, I started training for this 6, 7 days a week. So I always find I train better when I'm training for something, whether it's for a fight, whether it's for fucking, a running event, whether it was for, when I used to go to the gym and smack weights, it was like wanting to hit that next weight goal or next, lift. So yeah, I mean, I notice my mindset slip when I'm not training because you feel like a lazy prick, as a human, you should get up in the morning, you should go and get active, you shouldn't fucking sleep in. And when that starts to, it's like your self-worth can be built and destroyed as fast as one another. You can build from my experience, a really strong self-worth by doing the small things every day for a long period of time. And you can also rip it down from not doing the small things every day for a long period of time, right? So it's not like you're either born with self-worth or not born with self-worth or self-confidence, whatever you want to call it. It's built. So I know, right now, I know I'm super disciplined. I stay off the piss for 11 months of the year. I don't drink. I train like a beast. I work like a beast. Self-worth and self-confidence fucking strong. But I know if I went off that, in December, I party, I have fun, I don't train as much. And by the end of December, I don't feel like the Jack that went into December. And that's the truth. So that's why I can't do drinking, because I fucking slip and then that leads into your business. And
start sleeping in late, going to bed late.
When I say late, I'm not I get up at 4:30. My alarm went off this morning at 4:15. I was running by just after 4:30, did 20Ks, coffee shop at 6:35, quick cappuccino at the office by just after 7:30. Where I might sleep into 6, still get to the office early, but I didn't train. You don't have as much momentum and you don't feel as good when you get to the office. You're not as productive. You go home, you don't feel as good when you go to bed. You're like, oh, fuck. Bit of a lazy cunt, aren't I? So I'm a very self-critical person. It's good and bad, right? I find it hard to, be happy about my achievements and the things that I do, right?
It's probably just part of the no bullshit attitude, right? For yourself and everybody around you.
Yeah, to an extent. It's got positives and negatives.
Yeah, of course.
The positive outweigh the negatives, actually.
Well, one of the things, before we move on from your Instagram history, one of the things I saw as well, which I think a lot of people have gone through along their business journey, is there was a time where you looked like a young business person. You got the jacket on, a shirt, you got the chinos, clean shoes, and then at some point you switched to like you dress today. And how you dress today, that's the confidence of I've got what I've got. I don't need to impress anybody. I've got a plan. I know where my future's going. and I'm just going to do things how I want to. I don't need to put on the bullshit shoes and
Facade, yeah. I mean, when I started, I thought being in property was fucking looking like everyone else in property, right? So I started in the eastern suburbs of Sydney. Everyone's in tailor-made fucking jackets and chinos, so that's what I got in. You know, when I went into the industry, I was driving an SV6 Ute because I just come out of construction, and I wanted to buy the Mercedes and all that shit. And then over time, you realize like, I feel like a fuckwit. I feel like a cocksucker.
I feel like stopping pretending as well.
Yeah, and there is an element of that, right? Because everyone's trying to find them. So I mean, for me, like you're trying to find yourself. You're trying to work out what is the authentic Jack Henderson, right? Because the authentic Jack Henderson when I was a construction worker is a different person now. And then as I started to do better, and I had the fucking watches, and I had all the shit, and now.
It just collects dust eventually.
I just couldn't give a fuck about that stuff now, to be honest. I love now, like, this is genuinely what I wear. If you look back in those old photos, this is what I used to wear when I went to like music festivals and I was out, but I never wore it, and to be honest, I probably couldn't because I didn't have the runs on the board yet. If you wear this stuff and you're trying to grow a business, like in the industry that I'm in, people probably wouldn't have taken me seriously.
Yeah, they wouldn't have for sure. Yeah, you have to go along with it for a certain period of time.
Yeah, like I was in the eastern suburbs buying people's family homes when I first started for $3, $4, $5, $10 million. You rock up in this shit when you've done nothing really. It's like it's a bit harder. Where now I don't need the approval of anyone.
Like you said, the runs are on the board now. The proof's there.
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, I've got a lot more I'm going to do and want to do, but like I don't need anyone else essentially now. Like. I've got a business that sustains itself. I understand business a lot more than when I started. So I'm me. And what I found as I've become more and more of myself, things have gotten even better, right? Because you start to attract the people that really like you, and you start to, deflect the people that don't like you. And that's the key to business is like the riches are in the niches, right? So find what you do really, really well. Be authentically yourself. You'll attract lots and lots and lots of those people, and lots of people who want to work with you for that reason. And you'll piss off a lot of people who don't want to work with you and never were the right client anyway, and that's the best thing.
Yeah, I think one thing a lot of people struggle with, which is what you touched on there, something I've only changed very recently, which is stop trying to please everybody.
Yeah,
because the more you be yourself. I
usually wear a hat. This is fucking doing my head in my head.
Where's the red asset, Richard?
Oh, I usually wear it, but I'm like, fucking this outfit.
Flash colours, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Got to be on point.
That's right.
Yeah, I think, it's realizing that you're better off with a divisive group, one that absolutely loves you, knows you by name, even though they've never met you, and a group that hates you and sends you weird messages about what a shit person you are. And then, the opposite of that is to try and please everyone. But you don't end up with raving fans. You end up with a group of people that think you're all right and a group of people think that, I don't agree with him, but neither are emotional enough to really care.
Yeah.
And I think that's where social media's really highlighted the importance of being yourself, because you see that in the influencers, the ones that really hone in on a political topic or something like that that's divisive, is the word everyone uses. But the reality is it's just what they think.
Yeah, they're firm on what they believe. And that attracts more and more people that believe that thing. Like you use the most extreme example being Donald Trump in the US. I don't give a fuck either way. But like you either really love him or you really dislike him. But the reason for that is because he has certain beliefs that he shares. And again, you have a crowd that loves it and a crowd that dislikes it.
But it's a crowd that would die for him.
Literally.
Yeah. Versus just, trying to keep the masses happy. And I think that's important, like you said, the riches in the niches, however you want to pronounce it, from Hormozy.
Yeah.
Did I see you went to Hormozy's office?
Yeah, I've been there for a lot of times over the last 24 months. We've done a lot of work with him and his team.
So is that off the back of his books?
I first found him through a friend of mine, John Gian, who's probably one of the biggest marketers in Australia. He's an OG marketer, for people who know marketing.
So he doesn't just dance on TikTok?
No, he definitely does. You wouldn't even know he exists. He's behind a lot of the faces that you'd see everywhere. He's the guy who has the strategy and runs the ads and all that jazz. So we were doing some work with him, and he told me about him. He said, you should look this guy up because he's very similar age to you, and I think you're. And then he told me about him, and that was it. And then I started to find out about all that stuff, and I was like, fuck. And then I think it was when he had Gym Launch or was selling Gym Launch is when I first got introduced to him. So before he had any of the workshops and the sort of masterminds that he does now, And then, yeah, like when the workshops and that come out, I was probably one of the first people in Australia to go there. A lot of people have been there now. And then from there, we went into the mastermind and yeah.
Would you say he's been a key player in recent growth or?
Yeah, so like what I said before about the one person, right? Like Chris was that first one person and Alex has been that one person for the past, 2+ years. And it's shaped the way that we've grown the business. It's shaped the way that we've structured the business. It's shaped the way that I think about business. And it's been instrumental for sure.
So I actually usually have his books up on the shelves. And I got asked to a coffee on LinkedIn the other day from a guy I didn't know, but he was basically saying, I'm trying to start a business that's in a similar field. Do you mind helping me out? So we get the coffee. Turns out he only got out of jail 3 months ago and he's trying to change his life. And I had all my books on me, including Hormozi's 2 books. So I pulled them out and gave it to him and said, read these. Because if you have no baseline, these books are actually a really good start. And what they did for me was, I think it was last year around Christmas, I listened to them both back to back and was just like, fuck, my notes, as long as the books, I'm just going to go back and reread the books. And I actually read them 3 times in a row.
That was the leads and offers book.
Yeah.
Or the offers and leads
Yeah.
book. Yeah.
And, in the book he talks about the books are basically there to get you to $3 million or $1 million or whatever the barrier was to then get you overseas to work with him as a kind of his way of pre-qualifying you almost to say, if you follow these instructions and grown a business to this point, then it's probably not a waste of my time working with you. And, but I've never met anybody that's actually been there. So, I could imagine his kind of classes or masterminds would be just his books on steroids. I wouldn't like it.
Because it's the guru that's fucking not there.
No, I believe him. Yeah,
because he's not there. He's there at some of them, but
yeah.
when you start to pay a lot of money, like there's a level between the entry level. He's there, and then we're in the mastermind. It's not him. It's his team. And then if you want to work with him again, it's $130,000 USD for a 1-day boardroom. So,
and I think he's paid people those amounts to get where he is, right? So you're transferring the knowledge as well. It's not like he knew nobody and made it all up. He's also been on a journey of going to these things, and that's what you're paying for. It's not just him.
Yeah, it's and his team are just like him, right? They think like him. They work next to him every single day. Like they're regurgitating his stuff. It's just not him doing it. So we've taken a lot from it. We've learned a lot. It's a long fucking way to travel for a couple of days, but
do you go by yourself or you take
my general manager?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's good. We've learned a lot, and we'll probably do some more stuff next year, I'd say. So we just got back from the last one in August or September, and there was only a really small amount that we took away from it, but we shortened our VSL online. We changed our ad strategy, changed our landing pages. We've changed a little bit with what we do with content now, but again, like it's getting out of the environment of working in the business every day and just getting in a different mindset where you're away from the business and you're thinking about, working on the business, as everyone says, on, not in it. And then it's just like you just get in a different mind frame. You start thinking a little bit differently. You're in an environment where it's conducive to thinking well, and that's where the best shit happens. But the same thing, you got to learn all that fucking shit, write it in a book, go home and do nothing with it.
Yeah.
It's nothing, right? It's learning a few things and we implement straight away. So.
That's almost the problem with learning too much at once, right? Is then it's like, well, where do we start? It's going to take us forever. Bite-sized pieces.
They're what they teach is a theory of constraint. So it's one constraint at a time. So we have a good business and it makes good money, and it's like, well, what's the next thing? And it was like the most simple things to change, but since then our business has grown even further. So it's always those simple things, and often we overcomplicate it in business or investing or whatever it is. Where often the simple things is what brings the greatest results.
Especially when it comes to sales and leads, it's very easy to get complicated with what's going on online. But if you come back to basics, the art of selling has been the same pretty much forever, and I don't think has changed that much.
Yeah, and we're lucky. We're an extremely lead-rich business. So for us now, it's like, how do we increase conversion?
A lead-rich business or industry, do you think?
I don't know. There's not many businesses our size, so I'd say it's a business. Like, of course, there's leads everywhere, right? Everyone is looking for a certain service. There's still not that many of what we do around, and there's maybe one or two that are a similar size to us. That's it. But yeah, like we're I've got the biggest brand online when it comes to what we do. So you could imagine how that flows into ads and all the rest of it.
So winding back to starting Henderson, I think in your early days you were doing some podcasts and videos and stuff, and you had your own little kind of logo that wasn't what we know as Henderson now.
The JH,
Yeah.
Flamingo. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was when I was working inside of another organization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so talk me through that 6 months leading up to I'm going to take the leap and give it a crack. Was
Well,
there?
I didn't have 6 months. I got sacked. So I started.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I just started it. Like
Yeah.
October long weekend 2020 is when I got punted. And that's when I started Henderson.
So you just went out on your own?
Well, I was a
Instagram?
contractor already.
Yeah.
So I already had my own company, but I was contracting to another organization working under their brand. So yeah, that lasted 12 months. October 2019 I started. October 2020 I finished. That business is no longer around. So not sure.
So you already had some framework and stuff, I guess, from working through them. And then really it would have been a matter of your own branding and strategy on getting leads.
Yeah, like few logos, like nothing changed. Instead of me being Jack Henderson from the company that I was from, I was now Jack Henderson from Henderson Advocacy.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that changed. And nothing else changed. We still called leads nonstop. Like I was the guy doing the outbound calls. I was the guy doing the sales calls. I was the guy servicing the clients. I was the guy doing everything. And then from there you start to grow and you hire people and, now it is what it is. But it's always, Steve Jobs said it, it's always easier to look in reverse and connect the dots, right? Where at the time it was like, we need to generate revenue. I got fucking bills to pay. And the best way to do that is to get lots of names and numbers and call them and offer our services to them. And that's what we did. Like our whole business is built on cold calling. And still today, we do thousands of cold calls per day, our team. It's not cold now, they're obviously warm, but thousands of outbound dials a day.
Is that still your biggest strategy for leads? Obviously, your social media brings in a lot.
Yeah, so social is lead gen. Ads are lead gen. We obviously have a lot of people refer us business, but you need to contact those leads, right? So when you're advertising online, we generate hundreds of leads per day, but you need someone to call them. A lot of people don't even call their leads. It's fucking bizarre. So yeah, like we got a massive team of just savages.
So talk to me about hiring in the early days when, obviously it was just you at the start. What were the first people you put on and what were some of the challenges you're trying to find them?
First person was a videographer, which I hired when I worked at the other company. So I started in October 2019, did the first 3 months by myself. So October 2019 to December 2019. January 2020, I hired Sam, who's still with me today, runs my Newcastle office. He's my videographer. By March, I hired my first prospector, outbound salesperson. Again, I was a contractor inside another organization. So I was hiring these people out of the comms that I was earning. Then a month later, I hired another one. Then COVID hit, and I was like, oh, fuck me, now I got 4 salaries plus my living expenses to pay for. That sort of went away. Like, there was like that dip during COVID that fucking nothing was happening.
I started in COVID, so
yeah,
fucked if I know. I started with no one on the street and you weren't allowed to door knock.
There you go. Well, we had like 4 months where we didn't earn $1, and then like the government started to lift everything, and real estate, you could still go in inspections and stuff, so the market fucking pumped. And then, I got punted in October of that year, and then I hired my mum as like EA, PA, admin sort of role. And then, there's lots of other people, mostly salespeople, because without the leads, you need, or without clients, you need clients. So it was just all sales. And I hired lots of, like, not many people that I hired originally are still with the business now. Sam he was my first employee. But I had lots of people between then and now that are no longer with the organization. And I think that's pretty common when you start a business,
it's something to fit around for.
You don't know what you don't know. So I was hiring friends and friends of friends and people who probably weren't fit for the role. But I've got a really core group of people now that have been around for 3-4 years, and
So what was the start right at the beginning you were doing? Was it just writing loans or?
No, I was it's the buyer's agent.
Buyer's agent.
Yeah, but for owner occupiers.
Yeah. Okay.
So my background was always investment, but investment buyer's agents weren't really a thing. Like they were out there, but it's not like the traditional buyer's agency sort of model. Where I worked for a company in the eastern suburbs of Sydney. I used to get clients and I'd go around and find them homes. That was the traditional thing, like you see on Lux listings and all that shit. Awesome model, very hard to scale, but great for when you've got $40,000 to $100,000 fees. Good money.
Is that why you started bolting on the other services to kind of supplement that offer?
Yeah, well, but that's all come relatively recently. When we started, it was like call people that you got their names and numbers from, sign them up as clients, go find them a house, get paid, and just continue to do that. Hopefully get referrals off people that you've already bought for, hopefully get referrals off mortgage brokers, hopefully get referrals off anyone you could, plus still be an outbound, savage. And then the way the business had developed is that wasn't really my passion. It made awesome money and I was enjoying it for like 12 to 18 months because of the money. But then I got to a point where I was like, man, I don't really enjoy being a slave to some fucker telling me to go find him a house and then finding
to the phone,
yeah, and then like finding a reason not to buy the house. Like, oh, the wall color's the wrong size and my fridge won't fit in that thing. It's like just fucking dumb shit. And to be honest, like I couldn't add as much value then as what I can add right now. So I started to pivot from owner-occupiers to investors. Very sad because owner-occupiers pay, like I said, the average fee was probably 50 or 60 grand because you're buying $2 and $3 million homes at 2%. And then I went to the investment model and I was charging like 15 grand. I'm like, fuck, I got 4 of these clients for one of those. I'm like, not ideal. And I was like, well, how do I develop a business where I can charge the owner-occupier rates and I can do volume? And that's where my thinking led. I was like, okay, so how can I charge significant premium when everyone else in the industry charges? Hormozy taught me a lot of that, how to dramatically increase the lifetime value of a customer. And that's when I started bolting on everything. So the first thing that we bolted on was Endeavour, like the building company. So I was like, well, I have a construction background. A lot of the properties that I buy need renovations. We're referring all this work to builders. Why don't I just do it myself? That was the first thing. Then it was like, okay, well, all of our clients come to us and they need finance. So let's bolt on finance. All of our clients, once they've purchased, need someone to manage the assets. Let's do asset management, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah, and it's all supplementing back to the core offer, right?
Yeah, that's right. Like most people who come to us because they want the advice. They want me to share with them what I've done, how they can do the same. And they all ask us for, oh, who do you know who does this? Or who should we speak to about this? It's like, well, the best person to speak to is us because we can do everything now.
And you've already done it so many times. You get your pulse, get your finger on the pulse.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just happened slowly. Now looking back, it's like, oh, we've done all this stuff. Like at the time, I was like, oh, how can we differentiate our offer? Oh, well, let's just buy properties that we can renovate. No one else does that. Like they buy properties they can renovate, but they don't do it. They just give it to someone else to go and do it. They tell the client, you got to go find a builder. So we started it and the market really liked it and we could charge a premium for it. And I was like, that's cool. And then I was like, well, we built, a lot of people build second dwellings to increase rental income. So why don't we do that ourselves? And then.
Was that like a trial and error?
Yeah, fuck. You know how many renovations we did at the start that made no money? We charged clients zero margin because we fucked up the pricing or,
you can't get it right on day one, but you said, looking at
the most important thing was to make sure the client was happy. So like if we were over on, we told them it was going to be $250 for a reno and it cost $350, that's our fuck up. They're still getting a beautifully renovated, property and they still get the property, but I'm like, well, we won't take a margin on it. So we did so many renovations in the early days where we made zero margin and it just cost money. But those clients still like us now.
I think that's what people don't realize is no matter what, it's not going to go perfect. And usually the customers judge you on how you deal with it, not necessarily the fact that something went wrong. And like you were saying, if you focus on how to at least make the best of the situation over time, I'm sure those people reinvest with you anyway, you make it back for them.
Most of them do, yeah. The thing with like anything in life, especially businesses, like you're never going to get it right every single time. So you need to be conscious of that. And I used to beat myself up over it where it's like, fuck, it is what it is. Like you just got to move on.
Yeah, it's a mindset thing, right? And confidence, like you're saying, your confidence takes a hit. And the problem is if you let a few of those get you down and you don't continue, you never get to where you are now.
Yeah.
You let the losses kind of dictate where you go. And sometimes you go back to what you knew worked, which was the basic stuff everyone does. And now you're back in that competitive market. It's hard to be ahead of.
The interesting thing that I learned from Hormozy is like Jim launched his business that he sold. They had the most amount of 5-star reviews out of anyone in the industry, but they also had the most amount of 1-star reviews. So the reality is as you grow and you serve more people, even if you have a 95% success rate, when you're doing volume, 5% still adds up to a lot, right?
And not everyone writes reviews, so it's hard to water them out.
Yeah, so Hormozy said we were the most 1-star reviewed company, in our space, but we're also the highest rated as well. So that's why I was like, oh, if I can't beat myself up, I'm not going to get it right every single time. As long as you do the right thing and you do it with, what's the word I'm looking for? You do it with,
with purpose and just keeping structure to it.
And like you try and make everything right, then that's all that matters.
So at the moment, obviously, social media has been a big part of your, I guess, business strategy for a long time. But is that more, well, maybe it's a balance, but there's leads and there's branding. You were saying you're one of the most kind of known brands. That's also probably because you just put a fucking pink flamingo up and made it so obvious people couldn't forget it, right? It's not like you tried to blend in with the crowd and have some polished thing that looks like a lawyer's branding or you just went, we are unapologetically this and this is the only thing we do. And if you ring us with weird other buying scenarios, we kind of don't do it, right? You stick to We want to help people build an asset, renovate it, keep it long term,
Yeah.
rinse, repeat, onto the next one.
And build a portfolio. Yeah, I mean, like brand is essentially just what people think about you, right? So like we've got a few followers online and, you know, tens of millions of fucking video views every month. And that just builds authority. It builds trust. And that's why you can charge premiums, right? Like the only reason that you pay premiums for luxury brands or for anything for that matter is because you trust that the product that you're going to buy is good or it has status or something like that. So that's the power of brand. Like we can charge a significant amount more than anyone else can charge because there's only one of us.
And people trust if something goes wrong, you've got a brand that's got to honour it or live up to fixing the mistake.
Yeah, that's right. And we get the results. So, but content is just marketing. Like content's free marketing. You put it out, tens of thousands of
You must spend a lot of time on content.
Not really. Like,
or you're just batching it and
content, right? So I'll do this. I probably won't shoot any other content today, but I'll get 10 or 15 bits of content out of this when it gets chopped up. Your audience will hear it. Tomorrow I might go shoot a huge amount of, when I say huge amount, like I might be in the studio for an hour.
I noticed you do a quick little, just a selfie video over something. It's finding time to do all those little things, right? To be
just
constantly
built into your
relevant.
day. Yeah, it's like green screen is one of the easiest things to do. I record it on TikTok. I find a story. I talk over the top of it. It takes me 2 or 3 minutes. Post it, put subtitles on it inside the app, and that's it.
Yeah, it's just getting in the habit.
There's nothing polished about that. It's like the most raw content that you can film. And to be honest, it does better than most of my fucking polished stuff that my media.
It does, doesn't it?
So
it's authentic. That's why.
Yeah. So it's just making sure that like if you own a business, marketing and sales are really the only things that matter until you've got a business that doesn't need you to do that stuff. So that's all I focus on. Sales, marketing, sales, marketing, sales, marketing.
Yeah, it's all that matters. It's the heartbeat of the business.
And then the fulfillment of your clients. So, I've got a client success team and obviously all of our guys on the ground that serve the clients. That's really all that matters. And then hiring really good people. So that's all I do now. Hiring.
So you were building your property portfolio basically the same time you were building your business, right? There was no time where you stopped trying to work on your own properties.
Yeah, I mean, there's times where you're more active and less active. Like I've had tough years in business where I've done fuck all. And I've had really good years in business where I do a lot. So, you're building both at the same time. You're building a business, which I'm still building it and will continue to build it for the rest of my life. And I'm building my portfolio as well, which I'm also building. At the end of the day, my portfolio is just my personal wealth. So I'm using my business to fund, the growth of that business, plus also fund my personal wealth.
One of the things you hear a lot, I'm sure you've heard it a million times, is, this, I know when I started my business, the first thing I was told was, forget about it, getting a loan and buying anything for the first few years, mate. You're self-employed. They won't even look at you. But I don't think that's true, is it?
No. It's fucking true if you run your business at zero profit and, try not to pay any tax and do what most fucking business owners do. Like if you look at statistics, most business owners don't turn a profit. So if you run your business like that, sure, no money, right? Because at the end of the day, if you had no income personally in a job, you'd also get no money from the bank. And that's what a zero profit business is, no income. So turnover is one thing, but how much drops out the bottom is the only thing that really matters in the bank size. But if you run a business properly and you turn a profit, the banks will lend you as much money, if not more, than what they'd lend you as an employee.
Is there common things you see when you're speaking to people that you go, fuck, if you just did it this way, like the thing you keep repeating, maybe not burying your profits is the first one, but there's got to be common mistakes people make, both, as individuals just trying to get into the housing market, credit card debt and dumb things like that.
We don't see too many of those people because they're not really our ideal client. Like I'm assuming there's a lot of people out there that do deal with that stuff, but we don't deal with that. I think the big thing is just like probably a mindset or a belief shift that people need to make around, what's possible, what they want, how aggressive they can potentially go or how aggressive they need to go, because sometimes they think they need to go more aggressive than what they do. And then again, trying to overcomplicate things, trying to not keep it as simple as possible. So, we talk a lot about structuring and, maximizing the finance you can get through banks and all the rest of it and getting our clients the right advice around that. But the thing that makes the most amount of money from my experience and what I've learned from lots of wealthy people is just doing it consistently over a long period of time, not thinking that you can go from fucking zero to 10 million bucks overnight and you're not going to have to do anything ever again. It's just like without income, you can't grow your wealth. And if you try and focus on growing your income as much as you possibly can, and then use that income to grow a portfolio and do that for 10, 15, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, it'd be highly unlikely that you won't be extremely wealthy.
No big mistakes along the way. Minimize your risk.
That's it. Like, you don't have to try and go and make a gazillion dollars overnight. You know, like you often need less money than you think to live a really, really good life. So I think that's the big one. It's like people think they need a lot more than what they do. They think they can do it a lot quicker than what they can do. And they think there's like some secret and some hack. And it's like the secret and the hack is just do what no one else does, which is do it consistently for a long period of time and
Just
don't make any mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's the hack.
Yeah, I think you can convince yourself that it was no point starting saving for a house now, let's say, because we've only got $100 a week to spare. It's like, well, you can start with that.
Yeah, I mean, like I would think about that a little bit differently. If it's like if I only got $100 a week to spare, I shouldn't be worrying about investing. I should be fucking worrying about how I can make more money. And I know people think they go, oh, how can I make more money? And it's like it's not hard.
It's not hard. Yeah.
You know, like if you have a fixed mindset and a few other things, then yeah, it probably would be hard. But like when you get exposure to how much money's out there, you realize like, fuck.
I brought on a business partner a couple of years ago who was an employee from right back when we started. We gave him some equity and he calls me one day and he was driving through Sydney, and just the fact that he'd become a director in the business and a shareholder completely changed his mindset of money.
Yeah.
And he called me because he was like, I'm driving through Sydney, which he's been doing his whole life. And he was like, dude, there's fucking money everywhere. And I was like, you didn't notice that before? Like we act like it's an impossible task to make an extra $10,000 or $100,000 a year or $1 million a year. But like we live in Sydney. Like where would it be easier to make more money? I don't know if there's anywhere in the world.
Yeah, I mean, everywhere has its challenges, right? Everyone wants to go to fucking Dubai and pay no tax and, live this cool lifestyle or perceives to be a cool lifestyle. Like, it comes with its challenges too, right? You're in a foreign country or you don't know the local laws. Things can change in an instant. It's a kingdom. They're in charge. I think Australia's great. We pay a lot of tax, but we pay a lot of tax to live in a very safe, beautiful country if you live in the right parts of Australia. And there's a huge amount of opportunity. You can choose to think there's no opportunity, and you can choose to think that, this country's fucked now, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is, like, that's just your belief. The country's never been better. Like, it's funny when people talk like that. The country's fucked, we need to change, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, well, let's choose. You can either be born in 2025 today and go through whatever the country's going to go through over the next 50 or 60 years, or we can take you back to the early 1900s and you can be born and go through World War II and all the rest of it. It's like, which one would you choose? Guarantee they'd choose today,
Yeah.
So the country's not fucked. The world's not fucked. The world's way better now than it's ever been. It's just that we always are looking for the pessimistic view and what's wrong with the world.
Well, it's easy to blame, right?
Yeah.
Same with the housing crisis stuff. It's the constant conversation. But I think that's been a conversation forever as well. When has there ever not been people that have said it's too expensive to buy a house?
Never. That's what I said. There's also never been a time where everyone's like, fuck, how affordable is housing? Let's go buy heaps of it.
I was going to buy another, but it's just a waste,
Yeah. It's never been a time like that.
Yeah.
And the thing that everyone talks about now is like the disparity between median values and average incomes or median incomes. I'm like, property in Sydney is 10 times the median income. Like, yeah, well, I can tell you it's probably going to be 20 or 30 times in the future. And the reason for that is because Sydney's a city for the wealthy people.
Yeah.
That's not me, trying to gaslight or whatever the fuck these people online want to say. It's like Sydney is a city for some of the wealthiest people in the world. Like, that's the fact. And I know it might not feel like that because you were born in Sydney or, in other parts of Australia, but like it's going to become more and more affluent. It's going to become more and more exclusive, and property prices are going to become more and more expensive, and it's going to become less and less for the average person. Just like if you were born in Saint-Tropez or you were born in New York, or you were born in a multitude of other places around the world. Like, there's places in the world that are for wealthy people, and Sydney is one of those places. So, and there's other parts in Australia that are also like that. I think the Gold Coast is going to be one of those areas with the lifestyle.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
If Melbourne fucking sorts its shit out and fucking, comes out of this terrible leadership they're in, that could be like that. So people just need to accept that.
I mean, the Harbour Bridge is literally a world icon. It's like the Eiffel Tower for Australia. Everyone knows it, which means so many people want to be here.
It's a safe place, right? Like, everyone talks about migration and, we need to stop the migrants. Like, the only reason people fucking want to come here is because the country is so much better than the country that they come from, right? So didn't that tell you something? How many people fucking want to go to India? How many people want to move to China?
Not many.
How many people want to move to anywhere else in the world other than Australia, other than some of these online fucking people who want to move to Bali and Dubai? Not many. So, yeah, we live in one of the best countries in the world. And there's always challenges regardless of, where you are in the world and what part of time you're born in. But yeah, people need to accept the fact that Sydney's for the wealthy. Like the fact that we've got homes selling right now for $100 million, $80 million, $60 million, $30 million, $20 million, $10 million, $5 million. Like, tell me other parts of the world where that happens and it's not for wealthy people.
Yeah.
And that's going to continue to happen. And those people who are buying those homes, it has nothing to do with the average income. It's got to do with they make money and have made a lot more money than the average person. That's why they can spend the money on those kinds of properties, right? And that's just going to continue to get further and further and further away from the city, right? Like we're in Parramatta right now. Parramatta 30 years ago, 40 years ago was not the Parramatta it is right now.
No, and imagine in the years to come.
That's right. It's like urban sprawl. The wealthy people start in the best suburbs, Point Piper, Vaucluse, Mossman, fucking Balmain, all the rest of it. And it slowly starts to disperse out, and that's what's happening. So
yeah, well, I'm in Oatlands, right? And one of our neighbours sold for just under $7 million earlier in the year.
And I can assure you the person who bought that probably wasn't the average person on the average
No,
account.
no, he didn't work at Woolies, yeah.
Yeah.
But, if you speak to locals, like our next door neighbour's been there 40 years, and they're just like, they cannot believe it. And it's like, well, that's what's happening. The Parramatta's here, the next CBD, and we're going to have to accept that Penrith will be like the last affordable place probably.
Affordable
or Camden
now.
Town.
Affordable now, right? It won't be affordable in 30 years' time. So as long as we have population growth, like even people talk, I'm on a panel at South by Southwest, the conference, and I think it's a week or two's time, talking about this exact issue. And it's like, we can bring more supply into the market, right? Like the supply will fix the issue for a certain segment of the market. But you can't add more supply to this area. You can't add more supply anywhere that is close to a city. You can keep expanding out and adding more supply, but that doesn't fix the problem for the people who want to live in these areas, right? Like there's a huge amount of people who want to live in these areas and there's no supply and there's no adding to that supply. Yes, you can add apartments, but the same buyer for a $2 million house is not the same buyer for a $700,000 or $1 million apartment. It's two different people. So supply fixes a certain problem for a certain person, but it's not going to fix the problem of property prices getting more expensive in established areas.
Yeah, it's just you got to accept it, right? So if we ignore the people that don't want to accept that and don't want to kind of agree with this, that we're in a great place to make more money, and you're obviously proof of that as well. I mean, you were a 20-year-old at a building site who's built a great business and personal wealth.
Apparently, I got rich parents and I was given everything.
I'm sure you've heard it all, yeah. Yeah, you won the lotto. No one knows about it.
Yeah, I did win the lotto at the end of the day. I won the lotto because I got fucking good parents who taught me the world is yours if you work for it.
Yeah.
If you don't work for it, you ain't getting fuck all off us. That's what they taught me.
There's nothing left for you, yeah.
Yeah, like, anyone who meets my dad, and we were on the boat on the weekend and dad and mum were there. And everyone was like, fuck me, I can see where you get it from. Because my dad is a spitting image of me, just fucking 30 years, 40 years older. They can see that he's the same person and he's taught me, what he learned through life, what he.
This is the weird thing about generational wealth, right, is because it's almost like no one wants to see somebody continue on a family legacy because there's this whole, you were handed it, you were born with it. And it's like, don't you want that for your kids? Aren't you trying to build a life for your kids so that they're one step ahead of where you were? Like we're all doing that. Some are more ahead than others, but
there's a challenge with that, right? Because often what creates, like creating the wealth out of nowhere. So my parents are not wealthy people. They bought a house. Their first house was in Tregear or Wilmot or something, which is not too far from here. And when they bought it, it was much worse than it was right now. And then they moved to Wilberforce, which is a fucking long way from here. And then they moved from a house in Wilberforce to a couple of acres in Wilberforce, and then they sold it and now they live in Foster. So they have bought a couple of houses over their 40-year working journey. And they taught me the value of a dollar. You need to fucking stand by your word. You need to stand up for yourself. All these really, really valuable lessons. And I've taken that and, created what I've created to date. But what happens, I see it all the time, and I spoke about this the other day on another podcast, which is when you create like a real level of wealth, right? Where there's privilege and when I say privilege, I mean like real privilege. Then what happens is those people who've created that go, well, I don't want my kids to go through what I went through. So they give them all the stuff that they wish they had when they were a kid. But what they don't realize is the reason they are the people they are is because they went through that stuff. So then they take that away from their kids, and that's why their kids turn out to be fucked. And that's why the majority of people who create wealth, it's gone within 2 generations. is because they create it, and the people who, or the kids that they were born and then their grandkids have no idea how to make it, had no idea, they don't have the lessons and the and the life experience, so they don't value it, and it's gone.
Yeah, I don't know if you follow Grant Cardone.
I follow it.
But I've got a daughter who's 18 months old, so she's a long way from being on the cold calls. But you watch his family, and like he's had his daughters on the phones and on the stage learning that none of this is going to come for free since they were literally barely teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what you have to do, because how else
can talk on stage better than half the people that have been talking on stage for 20 years.
They're real business people. And of course it's because they're sponges of him and his wife. But if he didn't purposefully do that, they would have been a couple of Brady kids on a private jet everywhere, their private school.
That's right. And they're homeschooled, they go everywhere. Like, wow. But anyone who doesn't see that same view will go, fuck, they're just, their dad had it all. Look at them, the aneurysm, they've got what they have.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always easy to brush that away. And look, not everybody wants to change that either. Some people are just happy with a simple life. That's fine. We're not saying everybody has to dream for this big thing, because the long, lonely nights and the hard work and the pressure and the how the fuck we're going to make payroll, and that's not for everyone either.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know too many people who don't want a better life for themselves. Like, whether you are, hard right wing or whether you're hard left, most of those people want a better life for themselves and others, right? They want it in a different way, like the left is a very different approach to the right, and I don't give a fuck whether you're left or
same
right.
goal, just different path most of the time.
That's right. It's like everyone wants the best life for themselves. They want a better life than what their parents had, and then they want a better life for their kids. Like, very few people don't want that. There's just levels to that, right? Everyone has a different meaning to what a better life looks like and feels like.
So I'm assuming your mindset is like, I'm going to the fucking moon. Like, this business is growing forever. There is no ceiling. Is there a end goal, or do you say, like, if I put an end goal, then it could be thinking too small?
Not really, because I've had quite a few friends and people that I know exit out of businesses for many hundreds of millions, and all they do is get a liquidity event. They do some shit that they wanted to do, buy some things that they wanted to buy, and then they go back and do it again.
Yeah.
So I'm really inspired by people who have been in the same industry and business forever. So you look at people like Harry Triggerboff, for example. How many years has he grown Meriton for? Like 60 years or something like that, 70 years. Like, that's fucking cool. Gone through every economic event you can think of. Like, he would have been around, I think he's in his 90s now, or 80s or 90s. Like, he would have been World War II-ish. He's gone through all the good and the bad since then. Still got the same business, Meriton. And it's just fucking grown and grown and grown. People like Gina Reinhardt, like, same thing.
Yeah, and why are they who they are? Because they never stopped.
Yeah, that's right. So I like the fact that, like, I look 60 years into the future and go, fuck, when I'm 80, 89, I think the median age for a male is like early 80s. So let's assume I live to the median age. How cool would it be to have still a business that you've gone through good, bad, and indifferent, and you've grown it that whole time? So that's what excites me. And, I think that it's not unrealistic to think that it'll be a multi-billion-dollar business. Hopefully much more, but.
Yeah, it's funny. So my first business, we had a shit name. And so we actually rebranded to a name that I wanted to see as being like the family name. Yours is your surname, obviously. So that you're probably not going to change that anytime soon.
My business partner, when I first started the business, he told me to put Henderson on the door. I didn't want to. So I'm sort of happy I did now, though. Yeah,
it's a great name. It's family legacy type stuff. We've got a family business that's 45 years old. We tell stories about when Grandpa started and stuff all the time. And you kind of picture yourself being that person in the family. It's kind of like, who was that person that changed the trajectory of where we ended up?
Yeah.
But I think, like you said before, you've got to set some pretty firm principles on, I guess, if you're going to have kids and roll them in the business. And there's almost not a brainwashing, but there's a process to that, or you just end up, like you said, gone in 2 generations.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not thinking about kids and any of that stuff just yet. And everything I believe right now could change in 10 years' time. I don't fucking know, right? Life happens. So based on me right now, I'm thinking in 50 and 60-year increments. But again, that could change. I could get 10 years down the track and go, yeah, I'm over this.
Yeah, you never know. And the world's going to change as well. So that might pivot, I guess, what you want to be spending your time in.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the person today who's starting in the economy we're in.
Mm-hmm.
They're at no properties, but they're, let's say, your age from when you started. in construction now you make a ton of money, right? Like you can pretty much be a kid driving an excavator on 130, 140 grand a year. So I won't accept the argument that you're stuck on 50 grand a year in construction, let's say, because you're a few tickets away from double that.
Oh, even a labourer, like a labourer as a CW1, which is, construction worker one, they got to be 30, 35 bucks an hour now.
Yeah. Yeah. Minimum wage basically on an award job, security, construction, almost hospitality as well, especially if there's night shift rates. You're on 80, 90 grand basically straight away.
Yeah. And construction, the best thing, the reason I earned what I did when I was fucking 15, 16 is because you're not working 8 hours a day or 7 hours a day. You're doing 10, 11 hours a day.
And weekends and.
Yeah. Every Saturday we work 6 days a week, 60-ish hours a week.
Yeah.
You get all your allowances, car allowance, fucking crib allowance, whatever it is. We didn't have lunch, we only had smoko. Overtime, which is time and a half and double time. Like I was making, I think I put my first group certificate up. I think it was like 72 or 75 grand, like in 2015. 2015? No, fuck, it was some year anyway. Crazy. That would be now 100 grand, easy.
Yeah, yeah. And so, if you are starting out, what are the really important things to not just get one house or two, but is there much forward thinking you should be putting into if your goal is 5, 10, 15, 20? Is there something you can do different from day one that really helps that, or just get started?
Yeah, I think the first thing is I went into property because of obviously I had an influence to go buy your first house, but I really like it. I'm interested in it. It's something I understand. And that's why I'm not interested in crypto and I'm not interested in, investing in shares and all that stuff. You can make an unbelievable amount of money and probably just as much money in those things as you can make in property. But you need to love it. You need to understand it and you need to do it because it's something you'll stay in forever. So if you're someone who is interested in property over other things, then that's when you get into property. And one thing you need to understand, I had a conversation with a person yesterday, and they wanted 8 million in net equity within 10 years and they earn 150 grand a year. And I said, the 8 million net equity in 10 years, 100% possible. But to get that, you need to dramatically increase that 150 grand a year because this is not happening on 150 grand a year. So the number one thing you need to understand is if you're borrowing money off other people, being the bank, you need to have income to support that and you need to have a lot of income. So anyone you see like me or anyone else out there who's got tens of millions of dollars in property, the only reason they have that amount of property and that amount of debt is because they have the servicing to be able to have that amount. I can give you the structures that'll maximize your borrowing capacity. I'll give you all the strategies to buy the right assets and renovate them and all that jazz. But the number one thing is income. Without income, none of it happens. Wealth creation doesn't happen without income. So like you said, the $100 a week, just before that person, it's like I'd fix that before I worry about any investing. Well, fix the income issue. Fix whatever it is in your mind that's not allowing you to earn more money, and then go and earn more money. And then all of this other shit becomes way easier.
Stop putting the cash in the drawer, declare the tax, bump your income up.
If you're on 80 grand a year, how do you earn 120? What jobs earn 120? What is it in your sector that makes 120? Go work out what you need to, what's that gap you need to bridge between where you are right now and that person, and then fix it. And then when you earn 120, what's the next thing? The next thing. And then eventually you'll get to a point, most people get to a point where like that next step doesn't make sense to them because they want to spend as much time as they can with their kids. They don't want to have to work weekends. They don't want to take on the extra risk and stress and all the rest of it. And that's okay for that person. But if you're not that person and you just want more and more and more and more, whether that's right or wrong, you can have it. You just got to keep finding that gap, right? It's the exact theory that Hormozy teaches. It's the theory of constraints.
Mm.
So
and I think that's probably negative gearing and stuff, right? Is people can get convinced that's the way, but then that's affecting your serviceability.
Yeah, well, I mean, whether it's negative or positively geared, they're both affecting your serviceability. If you have debt in your name, that affects servicing. And the difference between a property making you $100 a week or costing you $100 a week doesn't change your serviceability between buying another $1 million property and not buying another $1 million property. What will fix that is making another $100 or $200 or $300,000 a year. So the key is make as much money as you possibly can. Without income, nothing else happens. And then once you've worked that out and understood that, then you go, okay, well, how can I maximize it? Right structure, right property, long-term approach. That's it. Don't overcomplicate it. Do that over and over again. I've got a course on my website, which is free. It's like 10 or 12 hours of content where I walk you through every step. Now, like the first 3 things you need to worry about before you start investing, and the 5 steps to our process, which is accumulation at the start. So when you start with a little bit of money and you have nothing else, you need to accumulate assets because you don't have any wealth. Your wealth is the cash you have in your bank and your superannuation. So accumulation is all around buying assets, using the equity out of those assets to buy more assets. Then you've got the acceleration stage, which is how do I maximize the value of each of the assets I own now through a renovation, through a small development, through increasing the yield. Then you go through the time where you make all the money, which is the incubation period. It's just that holding period. You know, the reason your grandparents bought their house for fucking $4 and sold it for 4 million is because time did the heavy lifting. They did nothing else other than wait. So incubation is literally just holding, which is where most people get stuck because lots of people can't sit on their hands. And then the back end of the journey is when you've made the money and you don't want to work anymore. You want to work less. And that's when you go through consolidation, which is selling down your assets, getting rid of all of or most of your debt, paying your capital gains tax. No, you can't fucking avoid it. You need to pay it. And then rolling it into cash flow producing assets, which could be real estate or it could be a multitude of other things. Very simple. And if you go ask anyone in wealth creation, whether it's someone in fucking private equity or someone in, who's a stockbroker or whatever, it's like you can't generate cash flow if you don't have capital to generate cash flow with. So before you can generate cash flow, you need to get the capital. And that's like the process that I just ran you through is very similar to the process most wealth creation companies in many sectors go through. Grow your capital, transfer it into cash flow.
So growing your equity to basically use to lend against the next property.
Yeah.
You're still going to have to do something about your income, no matter what you do, right?
Of course, because you've got to pay a mortgage. So if rates are at 6% and your rental yield's at 4%, you got a 2% gap there on $1 million property, that's 20 grand. You need to pay that. And then you need to pay the expenses for that property, right? And then you just need to be confident that the property is going to go up by more than it's costing you every year. So without income, you can't do that. That's the thing. And if you want to go invest in shares, right, you don't have to pay a mortgage, but you have to consistently invest every single week. So you still have that outflow of cash out of your bank. But instead of paying a mortgage, it's just going into buying shares of a company. So regardless of what avenue, crypto, it's not like you just put in $1 today and never touch it again.
Unless you put it in a long time ago, yeah.
Yeah, of course. But
it's not going to
hindsight's a beautiful thing, right? It's
Yeah.
like if you would have bought a property in fucking Point Piper 50 years ago, it would have been a great thing as well. But it's like right now, today, anything you invest in, you need to do it consistently over a long period of time. And yes, there's those stories where someone's bought a bit of real estate and it's been rezoned, or someone's gone into some fucking crypto coin and it's 100x or 1,000x. It's like, that's the minority. That's unlikely to be you.
Yeah.
So just do what works for the majority, which is what I'm teaching.
Yeah, except that you don't want to wait to be the outlying situation.
How do you mean?
Like, you're not going to win the lotto. You're not going to be the guy that bought a random, meme coin. Like, if we accept that actually the slow, steady road will be what leads to the end goal.
No one wants a slow, steady road though, right?
Yeah.
Because the lotto is funner, or LMCT Plus is funner, or fucking all that shit, right? Yeah. But like, how many people do you know that have won the lotto or bought crypto and fucking like actually know? Not a story you've read online or fucking like you actually know them.
Yeah.
And it's not many.
Yeah, most people might know one of the hundreds of thousands of people.
I don't know any. I literally don't know one person who's hit it massive with anything overnight and gone from nothing to something. I don't know anyone. I know people who've sold businesses and built them, or people who have made a lot of money through property, or people who have made a lot of money through crypto, but it's not like they had nothing before it and made it all through like luck or won the lotto or anything like that.
Yeah, I know people that have won small stuff, but it's not enough to give me hope. I've never bought a single ticket to anything. I don't know how to gamble.
Yeah, me either. I fucking hate gambling.
I'd get angry. If I put $20 in the pokies and lose it, I'm pissed off for a week. Yeah?
Oh, I fucking hate it.
So your business growth obviously happened because you just wanted to be in business, but a huge part of it would have been to grow your income, right? And so at some point, so to give an example, I bought a Porsche for my wife when we had a baby, right? And I asked the guy when I was there, how many people are buying him through an asset holding trust with a company paying for it versus a guy that walks in and goes, here's my last 3 pay slips, and he goes, I've never seen pay slips in his office.
Yeah, right. There you go.
So it's kind of like that. If you're going to sit there and say, I only want 2 properties, then fine. You probably can stay an employee. But if you've got a dream of 10, 15, 20 or whatever that's past a reasonable, the CEO's on $100 million, but the average is 250 or something. If you want more than that, you have no choice but to go and find a way to make it yourself, right?
That's right.
Which is what you did.
Yeah, you got to. I don't want to have an average life. So I was doing everything I could not to have an average life. Average scares me.
Yeah, and I think if you accept that early, and I think some people are, not embarrassed isn't the word, but, don't have the confidence to openly say to people, you know what, I'm going to leave my job and start a business because no one's going to support them. I think for most people, you realize pretty quick there are some, small amount of friends and family that cheer for you, but there's a lot that watch on the sidelines and don't go and buy your product.
Most.
Yeah.
Most people who buy my services not fucking family and friends. I can assure you. We serve a minority. There might be people who know of me where we grew up and stuff like that, which is not many of them either. Not many people will like support you. So,
do you think that's an Australia thing? You hear a lot about the tall poppy syndrome, but I think it's everywhere.
I think it's everywhere, man. I think it's just like people would rather see someone else they don't know succeed than someone they do know, right? Because it makes them look at their own life and go, fuck. Like deep down, they know. He had a similar life to me, similar upbringing. He's done that. I've done this. Yeah, even if they make an excuse out, like, because of that or because of this, it's like deep down, when they're sitting by themselves, we all have these thoughts. When you're by yourself, you know, you're like, fuck, I'm a useless cunt.
And I think as well as you don't want to sound arrogant to your friends or family or whatever, but I had a conversation the other day with a friend of mine, and we're both 30. He's about to turn 30. I'm 31. And he goes, I don't have a property yet and I don't really have a deposit together, but he's got a business that he's working on. And he said, I'm sick of seeing people buy houses and I don't have one. So he's basically going to pack up his business and go get an income to help him get a house sooner. And I said, but like, who's buying these houses that you're jealous of? Because he grew up in Penrith, right? And I said, I'm sorry, but if your dream isn't to be a Penrith local and have a family out there and that's kind of it, then why do you care if they've got a Penrith house at 30? If your dream is the McLaren and the Vaucluse house, because when you're in that house, no one's going to say to you, "Oh, but did you buy a property in Penrith at 30?" Like no one will care. But people get so caught up in that. It's social media.
Talk about anyone else's life other than their own. Even though you think people care about your life, everyone's thinking about their own life.
Yeah,
that's what I've realized. It's like everyone, even when they project hate onto you, right? Like you saw that thing I posted on my story this morning. Some fuckwit, send me some message, and I get that shit all the time. That was just one I looked at and I was like, "Fuck, that's funny." So I screenshot it and put it on my story. Like that's got nothing to do with me. That's just him projecting his fucked up life onto me to make him feel better in the moment, right? Like you can just imagine that sad, useless fuck in his house just messaging that, sending it, and then that feeling
I fucking told him,
and it's like
I'm going to ruin his day. No, you're not.
It's got nothing to do with me. It's got everything to do with him. And like the more you become aware of that, even when you drive, I drive around and I've got a mad car and I've had a lot of different cars, and you're like, when people look at you, right, they're not looking at you. They're not looking at Jack Henderson. They're looking at the car. I don't give a fuck about who's in the car. They care about the car itself.
Yeah.
But you think you're a bit of a mad dog sometimes, and I have to catch myself like, stop, fuck, no one cares about you.
Yeah, but everyone goes to that, don't they? I think anytime you make your first bit of money, you think, and it's not that you care what other people think, but it's maybe that you've just seen other people with those things and you want them, so then you go and buy them, and then you're like...
You've been the person looking at the car going, fuck, that's sick.
Yeah.
And now you're the guy in the car with someone looking at you. Like, and there's lots of different things around that, right? And like your friend who said, I don't have the house, there's an element of that because he wants the feeling of someone looking at him going, oh, fuck, I'm 30 and I don't have a house yet, right?
Yeah,
just like he's looking at other people going, oh, well, I don't have that house yet.
So just because you're driving the house doesn't make it any different.
We're interesting characters, human beings.
Yeah.
So
I want to pick away at the business a little bit because in my experience, every business conversation leads to everyone struggles to get more leads, or not struggles, but it's never enough. It's like the tank's always half full. And so you mentioned earlier, you've got a lot of people on the phones. And cold calling is one of the toughest parts of a business to grow, is to find good people to hammer the phones, not just to actually make the call, but to generate the call lists and having a process behind that. Maybe talk me through that, because you're doing a lot of it. And I think most service-based business owners want to be doing better at it.
Yeah. So lead generation from my point of view is fucking easy. Like it's not hard. Put out good content, learn how to run ads. Whoosh guy, you've got an unlimited amount of leads. You turn it on and turn it off as you want. You need to understand creative. You need to understand ad buying. But fuck, now with AI inside of all of these platforms, it's pretty fucking easy. So that's one thing you need to understand is like how to create content, which is marketing, and how to run an ad. Okay, if you don't know how to do it, learn how to do it. Don't use an agency because you're not going to learn.
I've learned that lesson.
Yeah, then you're not going to learn. They'll do it for you. You won't learn anything, and you'll just waste money. Very rarely will you get someone that is actually good. So, or
better than what you could do on your own with a weekend of learning.
Yeah. Running ads is fucking really, really simple. We've got one guy we work with in the wedding venue business, not an agency. He's like a one-man band. Really good. But there's not many of those. I've worked with a lot of different ones. So that's the first thing is lead gen. It's like you need people to know who you are to be able to generate leads, right? And gone are the days of fucking newspaper ads and all this shit. Like that doesn't work anymore. I don't know who reads the newspaper these days. I don't read it.
No.
I don't know anyone who reads it personally, other than my dad. And my dad's not my customer. So that's the first thing. And
so you're saying don't go out just focusing on cold leads. Try and bring them to you.
I mean,
so
you can do cold leads. Like when I started, what we did was we would get, like an agent would have property that would sell, and then the agent would go, hey, you can call these buyers here who missed out on the property. They all know you're going to call. Give them a buzz. Some told you to fuck off. No, not really interested. And some would say, hey, yeah, I keep missing out on properties. So like they need to be interested in what the service you have to offer. So they are cold leads. I didn't know who Jack Henderson was, but they were in the realm of buying property. The easiest way to do it, though, is to generate leads that know who you are and come inbound to you, or that have an interest in what you're doing. So that's the first thing. And then like, I think where people go wrong with the outbound callers is like, they don't know how to do it themselves. I'm the best cold caller in my office, bar none.
I was about to ask you who trains people. So you.
Yeah, I got a sales manager now who trains them, but I trained him.
Yeah.
And I'm in the office every day. Like I'm either in a Sydney office, I'm in a Newcastle office, I'm in a Brisbane office, or I'm down in Melbourne. I'm there. And if I hear them on the phones and they say something, I go, hey, do it like this. Don't say that.
So you're very particular with scripting. You want people to keep to a script?
They need to keep to a script until they know it off by heart. Once they know it off by heart, they can add their own personality into it. But until then, they stick to a script. Otherwise, they can't learn, right? It's like...
Got to give them a starting point.
Yeah, it's like follow this script. And once you can talk to someone on the phone and say the script off by heart, word for word, your tonality's right, then you can add your personality into it. But until then, follow the script.
And is your script like scripted? Like, you get those cold calls that are like, hi, I'm sorry I've called you out of the blue, but I just need 2 minutes of your time. Or is it like, hey, g'day, mate, I'm calling from Henderson?
Yeah, I mean, it's like me.
Yeah.
Expect how I would call you. That's how our script is. So we have like certain things in there that, like when we call someone, we're always asking whether it's a bad time to be calling, because that's a no-orientated question at the start of a call, where most people go, oh, have you got a couple of minutes? No, I can't. Fuck off. But if they're like, hey, man, it's Jack calling. Hey, have I got you at a bad time? No, man, what's up? Hey, I'm just calling from blah, blah, blah. The reason I'm calling is...
And it's all those little things that people underestimate. I think it's actually, we learned that there's a few things we say to not just instantly throw up the red flag to say, I'm going.
Don't get me wrong. There's still people that do that.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I mean, all of our sales process is built out of the way that I would want someone to call me. So that's how I built it. And so that's the number one thing, is you need to know how to do it before you can hire anyone. And most people will go, like, let's hypothetically say that you're good at operations and not good at sales. Hard to go and hire salespeople if you don't know what you're doing. Just like if you're good at sales and not good at operations, hard to hire operations, right? Fortunately, I'm someone who was good at sales, good at marketing, not all that good at operations. And I just fucking hit the jackpot with my GM. Very good at operations, very structured. I'm like manic and fucking all over the shop. So that's the first thing. Know how to do it. And then when you hire someone, teach them, get them good, then hire the next one. And then you hire the next one. And then you hire the next one. And, like we would trial 2 to 4 people a week, salespeople. And 80% of them are no good. It's a numbers game.
So talk me through that hiring process, and you're bringing them in saying, look, we want to get you on the phones.
Every single person comes in for a trial before we hire, every single person.
Because and you just put them on a live call.
No, they listen all day to our thing. They've got the script in front of them. They're learning, bang, bang. And in the last 4 hours or 3 hours of the day, so we'll get in there at 8 and they'll leave at 6 or something. Paid, obviously, because legally you have to pay people now for trials. And then by the end of the day, you're like, hey, jump on the phone. And you learn. Oh, they were the great people are the greatest interviewers until they get in the arena. So
especially salespeople.
Yeah, and you just got to be you've got to be brutal with all roles. We trial every role now, not just salespeople. Any person who's coming to work for us trials first. It's because it's much easier to trial than it is to hire someone and then fuck them off. And
if someone says to you, I'm not willing to trial, you're just like, great, you're not that interested in being an employee. You're just here for a paycheck. So,
if they're not interested, they don't even get it run on the board. Say no. You know how many people say, yep, okay, be there Thursday.
They just never come.
They don't come.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to think about the majority of the population. Are the majority of the population super successful, super disciplined, fucking people that you'd want to hang out with? No. Then that's what you're going to get when you have a job ad. The majority of people.
Yeah, yeah. And what we're talking about, which I often talk about, is business owners are always hunting for better people.
Yeah, it's also like, why would someone work for my company as opposed to another company? So
yeah. And so for people that are trying to make more money, just be disciplined and you got to follow instruction.
But you got to pay well as well. Like,
yeah,
my guys earn good money. But I'd much rather have 50 to 100 people earning really good money as opposed to 200 people earning average money. So, Hormozy's taught me that, let's say that you pay 3 times. Let's say for a sales manager, you pay 500 grand a year versus what a normal sales manager might be at 150 to 200. How good do you reckon that $500,000 a year sales manager is going to be? How much extra productivity do you reckon you'll get out of someone like that?
Probably not 3 times, but
10 times.
Oh, really? He's saying the opposite.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because
I've always said paying more people as a ceiling.
Nah, I don't agree. What's like
not the right person, I guess.
Yeah, well, like you think about the best person in your organization. How good are they in comparison to the rest of people? How much? How much do they love it? How many hours do they work? There's levels, right? So, I mean, the more that you pay, the better the person.
And you're also removing the ceiling. People can talk themselves into a new job if you don't pay them, what they think, or they don't see a pathway to it at least.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, when you've got people internally that are good and committed, like making sure you remunerate those people accordingly, not like making them get good and then fucking them going elsewhere. Because it's much cheaper to pay your current people more money than it is to go and find someone else. So we're very lucky. We don't lose people unless we sack them.
And so the people that are coming in for the sales role, they're literally just on the phones, do the pitch, see if they're qualified, book them in for the next.
Got different layers of.
But they're not doing other stuff, right? Like you're just going straight people.
Just sales. At the start, we had, I was doing sales, I was doing the buyer's agency work, I was doing operations, I was doing fucking everything. But as the company has grown, now we have a full sales team, we have a full client success team, we have a full buyer's agent team, we have operations, we have admin. That's how, as a company grows, you get those sort of departments.
And like you said, everything's a process, right? So the sales process I find is, so personally, I find most business owners are the operational side, not the sales side. And if they are the sales side, they're usually in a business where it's just them because they can make a lot of money, just them. Why have the headache of other people? They're usually not the personality type that want to kind of deal with people's emotions either. So I find most business owners are the operational guy and massively struggle with trying to process sales, but it's not that complicated.
I'm not good at ops. I'm like super.
Yeah.
I'm not organized.
I've got too much ADHD for ops.
Yeah. Like I get emails and I'm like, oh, I can't read that. No, I can't be bothered. Or like, my GM's constantly on my back about shit. You need to do this. You need to do this. I'm like, all I need to do is fucking get more clients and make them happy. That'll make me very, very rich.
Yeah. The joke in my office is, did you see that email I sent you yesterday? I'm like, I'll read it this morning. Yeah. So, just too much.
I think you're one way or the other, right?
Yeah. But there's pros and cons to both. And I'm not sure if you've read Rocket Fuel, the book just behind you there.
I have not.
That's describing exactly what you're saying about you and your GM. It's the implementer in the business.
Oh, yeah. That's is that part of the Traction?
Yeah. Yes. That's the second book to Traction. Yeah. Right. And that book basically talks about if you don't have that other person in your business, the magic that'll happen if you find them, because you need both.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then again, like the more you pay, like you pay an ops manager $150 versus $250 versus $450, like.
It's going to eventually trickle into, that well-oiled organization that grows. And would you say your business grows on your own without you now, or you're still pretty influential?
Yeah, I mean, like, still in the grand scheme of things, a relatively small business. So
depends what room you're in.
I'm in there. I'm hustling, and and it's also like your team performs better when the founder's there and in the weeds and like
and passionate. Yeah.
So I mean. Maybe it'd still grow if I wasn't in there every day, but fuck that. I want to be in there every day. I want it to grow faster.
That's true, yeah. So I want to leave on a question. It's advice I normally try and give people, and I've always wondered if you would say the complete opposite. So tell me.
Hit me.
But people that are stuck in a job that's not low income, but not a huge amount, they're not going to they might save the 5% house deposit, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say they've saved up 30 grand, 40 grand, whatever. My argument's usually been if they're the kind of person that can hack it, they should take that money and start a business, not buy a property for a faster growth, let's say in the next 10, 15 years. Because if you scale your income, you'll probably make back that deposit way faster than if you put it into one property with a 5% deposit. Then you got to wait, for the equity to grow to get off whatever scheme you're on. Are you always, sooner that you get into property, the better? Or do you think income is probably more important? Otherwise, you're going to get stuck in a 2 to 3 house with no income?
I think it's a combination of both. I think if you're wired to be a business person, then sure, go fucking run a business and grow it, and you'll build more wealth than you can ever dream of. But for the vast majority of people, it's not them. Like most people are not going to be killers in business. I did a thing with Frank Grief, and Charlie Gearside from what's he started? Koala and another business. Can't think of it. Anyway, and that was
Frank is the AI app? No.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he had Real Hub before that.
Yeah.
And it was that exact thing, property versus business. And I'm like, fuck
$180 million exit guy.
yeah, that's him. Yeah. So I said, mate, like if you're good at business, go all in on business. But most people are not good at business, and the numbers show that. So, you also don't want to go and get a business and try and end up with nothing at the end either. So I think it's a combination of both. I think, would I change what I did? Would I get in business earlier than what I did? No. I think, I bought property at 18. By 21, I had...
Was there grants and stuff when you bought, or?
Yeah, there was stamp duty. I'm pretty sure there was stamp duty. There wasn't the lender's mortgage insurance one. I'm pretty sure I paid LMI. But I'm pretty sure I didn't pay stamp duty, I think.
So there was still, it's the same story as today then?
It's like different. Like
it's always something,
much.
yeah.
I can't remember what it was back then, but yeah, there was some shit out there. But I think like if you get into a property and let's say you have to actually live in it for 12 months and then you can rent it out, like it's not going to cost you all that much money. That's going to be growing in the background. You can still go start your business and run a business and give it a crack. And if it all fails, as long as you've kept the mortgage repayments up on your property, you're still going to have a property there that should have grown in value over time. And then it'll get you started on whatever else you're going to go and do.
So your strategy really is quite firm, right? Like if someone comes to you and goes, I want to buy an apartment, you're like, find someone else.
No, well, I started with apartments. I'd say if they want to buy an apartment, I'd say no dramas. Make sure it's in a small block of 4, 6 or 8 apartments close to the beach. It's got parking.
So there's still just no matter what, don't just buy anything because it's close to work. Like you got to think about it.
Like would I buy an apartment in one of these buildings here in Parramatta? Absolutely not. But would I buy
a house in Box Hill? Yeah.
Yeah. But would I buy an apartment in Coogee where I did? Absolutely. It's 2 better, close to the beach in an area where most people live in apartments. It's normal. Cool. Good suburbs in Newcastle. Cool. Would I buy an apartment in Brisbane? Probably not. Apartment in Melbourne? Maybe not. So it depends on the location. Yeah,
okay. So you touched on before that there's levels, right? And I see that kind of in the last 12 months of following you where you've gone into things like the wedding venue, where you're going, let's do both. Let's put a business in.
That's what I was doing to fundamentally. I was just about to make an offer on another one we looked at yesterday.
Yeah, good.
In Bathurst.
And so that's, a commercial strategy going forward. Personally, you're basically done with residential or?
No, I just settled on another resi asset the other day. I just bought a mixed-use building a couple of weeks ago.
I watched that, yeah.
Commercial on the bottom, resi on the top. I got another resi settling in 3 weeks. I bought the joint next to mine on the river. So I'll buy shit cool.
As long as it makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to go and buy just standard fucking set and forget assets anymore.
Yeah. When are you going to pull a Trump and go for a Flamingo Tower?
We've got one. We've got our Newcastle office building. We're going through.
I saw that. That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get probably 8 stories there. And we'll just do full floor luxury apartments. But I got time. You don't want to go into that stuff too quick because something like that can sink you as well.
I think that's such a huge consideration. I'm sure you tell that to people a lot. It's probably one of the first steps of your strategy sessions with people, right? Is, well, how much time on the clock have you got? Like, what's the actual deadline on this thing? Because if you're in your 20s or 30s, you're fucking heaps of time. You don't need to be stressing over, squeezing every bit drop of juice like you do if you're 55 and don't own a house.
Yeah, that's right. The earlier you start, the better it is, and the less risk you have to take. That's the reality. So yeah, we'll eventually become a pretty large builder developer, I'd say. So we're already doing it now in like duplexes and triplexes and that sort of shit. That apartment building on our office will be the first.
So that independent to Henderson, you're saying the building business is probably just going to become its own beast?
I mean, it already is its own beast. It's a fucking big business already. That'll do 25 million this year, like this financial year coming.
Mostly Henderson clients or?
Yeah, mostly Henderson clients, but then still our own projects as well. A big constraint over the last 12 months has been home builders warranty because you can't just fucking keep building and doing construction jobs. So we've just gotten approved now into mid-tier building, and it's in New South Wales and Queensland. But eventually that will be, builder developer. And then my end goal, well, not end goal, but I think how Henderson will develop, it'll end up becoming a fund, where we gather sophisticated investors, not punters, but sophisticated investors' money, and we go and do. There's just risk involved in that, and I don't know. Sometimes I think it's not worth it, and just use my own money and some really close people to me's money.
Yeah, I think though, if you stay kind of steady like you have, like you've got this strategy, but eventually you're going to want to go out and come up with the next thing, right?
Yeah. But things compound relatively quickly, right? Like that's the thing where a lot of people, they lose focus. Almost because the lady in the red dress. You know,
Yeah.
I think that's from what's that movie, The Matrix or some shit.
Yeah.
The lady in the red dress. So it's like you don't want to always get distracted because like as you get bigger and opportunities look like they're worth more money, you know, like imagine I'm a hammer and everything's a nail, right? You just want to hit every opportunity, but like it's the things you say no to. So I'd just come out of our monthly management meeting for Endeavour Build, and that was the exact conversation. There's so many opportunities now. We can go and do so much stuff that the more focused you stay for a longer period of time, you know, that's how you make lots of money and become very good.
Yeah, and distraction always takes away. You know, there's only so much time.
Well, that's the thing. It's like you start doing this, you take away from this. And I've just heard it so many times from, you know, all the circles I'm in where someone has a really good business making really good money that allows them to go and do other stuff. And they go and do all these other things because of that one business. And that one business then starts to suffer. And all these other businesses are just distractions. Where if you just stay in that one business and put all your focus in that one business, you make more money than you know what to do with. And you can go and do little ventures and, you know, do things to fucking scratch your itch. But like 95% of your focus needs to be on the main thing.
Yeah, I almost bought a share tea last year. My wife was like, listen.
What is it?
Share tea, you know, the bubble teas?
Oh, no.
Char time, one of them, you know?
Fuck that.
And it was only a couple $100,000, but I liked the drink and it was close to home. And my wife's like, what are you going to fucking hire 14-year-olds like to come in when they don't turn up? What are you going to do? Go down and make the drinks yourself?
Right.
And I was like, yeah, bad idea.
Now it's like, for me, unless it fits with our current model,
Yeah.
I'm not interested in it. Like even yesterday, I was in Bathurst looking at wedding venues. And I was like, fuck, I've spent a whole day away from the business looking at something which is good, but in the grand scheme of making money, it'll never make as much money as, you know, my core thing.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it. Like I enjoy the rural properties and
You've got to find a balance with that, don't you? Because you need the mental break as well to stay fresh.
for sure. Like I love that stuff. So, you know, and then we spoke about before, like learning how to market and learning how to sell. Like that flows into lots of things, you know. So, mate, when I fucking started advertising for Settlers, the first wedding venue we had, and I saw how cheaply I could acquire a customer and how zero competition was in the market, I was like, oh my gosh.
I need more of this.
This is sickening, you know? So that's the thing is when you learn a few of those key skills and like you can.
But it's all a build up. It's 9-10 years of staying very focused to have the ability and the cash behind you to do those things. You can't just go buy a wedding venue.
You can't go and do those things and then not focus on the main thing because the main thing, like Henderson is what allows me to do everything that I'm doing. And I'm conscious of that only because I've learned it from other people. So I don't be like, oh yeah, they can just stay there and I go and do this bigger opportunity, right? Because it always looks bigger when the reality is it's not bigger.
Yeah, I catch myself saying all the time to people, the way to make more money is usually in the business you're already in.
That's right.
It's not by starting another one.
100%. It's the only way.
Yeah, and it's the same for people with incomes. It's if you work for somebody where you know the business owner and you want to make an extra, you know, reasonable amount, 10, 15, maybe even 20 grand a year, I'm sure you're only 3 conversations and maybe 10 books or a short course away from getting that.
Yeah, well, my EA, for example, she's on good coin, but she said to me, I don't know, a few months back, she said, you know, she wants to make more money. And she's like, I'm doing these other things. Can I like put it? No, she said, I want to do something. Or I want to do more. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Put it in an email and send it to me and tell me what else you want to do and how you can add more value to my life. So she put this big email together about, you know, how she could go from just being my EA to being the business manager of like my own, like Jack Henderson things. You know, look after compliance and all this shit. And she'd done it really well and added all the extra role responsibilities that she'll do. And I was like, fuck, makes sense to me. No, what I'm missing. No,
and probably made your life 10 times easier and you didn't have the time to think of that even.
Yeah, but like it shows initiative and it's like it shows that they want to be around as well. Like they're invested in the company, that if you can help them earn more money, they will help you. So I'm all for that.
Yeah, I think that's the downside of working somewhere like a Woolies or a hospital or, you know, like I've never worked anywhere that I didn't know the owner.
Yeah, but I think even in big companies, if 99% of people who work there see it as just a job, it doesn't fucking it's not hard to stand out.
It's true, yeah.
Like, you know, you work at Woolies packing shelves, wouldn't take very much, I wouldn't think, to go from being someone who packs the shelves to someone who fucking is the manager of those people to someone who then is like a store manager to someone who then gets recognized by a regional manager and goes, oh, fuck, you might fit into my, like, it's not that hard.
Yeah, it's not, yeah. It's having the confidence to do it though.
You know, or fucking realizing you're going to die and it's fucking, that's it. It's game over. You're going to be a useless thing. Just die as someone who goes, oh, I just wasted the only life that I've got. I don't know what the fucking most people believe, but I believe once you're dead, you're dead.
Yeah, this could be it. Yeah.
That's what I believe. I believe
Either way, there's a strong chance.
when you're dead, that's it.
Yeah.
Lights out, sayonara. Fucking just like when you go to sleep overnight, you don't know you're asleep.
Yeah.
Before you were born, you didn't know you were born. So good chance that when you're fucking dead, you're not going to know you're dead.
And I think that's the real balance of staying in the grind, but also don't be afraid to reward yourselves those bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it could all be for nothing.
Probably is all going to be for nothing.
We'll find out.
No.
Well, thanks for coming in today, mate.
I
Appreciate it.
Good
to
chat.
see you.
Thank you, bro.
Cheers.